In the dark heart of Africa, a kingdom of death operates according to the most brutal laws of nature. Will the brute strength of the legendary King Kong be enough to confront the silent killers lurking in the shadows? Or is silence the ultimate weapon of this land? Wild Congo, the legend of King Kong and the deadly predators. The Congo River meanders like a giant black blood vessel, nourishing the most dense and harsh green fortress on the planet. Here, light is a luxury, and life is defined by the ability to vanish before the enemy can even blink. Forged on ancient geological foundations over 2.5 billion years old and the furious breath of the Nyiragongo volcano, every creature in Congo is an extreme variant of survival. Amidst this labyrinth of vines and eternal darkness, every step you take is a fragile boundary between the next dawn or the absolute end under the claws of legends. Speaking of Congo brings to mind the lowland gorilla, the prototype of the legendary King Kong. Leading the pack is the Silverback male, a massive 200 kilograms colossal figure with the strength to break a large tree trunk as easily as snapping a dry twig. A young challenger enters the territory. The space suddenly freezes. The real-life King Kong doesn't attack immediately. He stands tall, his enormous hands pounding his chest repeatedly, creating resounding drum beats. The challenger doesn't back down. A bloody clash erupts. 1,000-pound shoulder blows, lightning-fast bites to the biceps. This isn't a hunt. This is a battle to protect the clan. In Congo, the king needs more than just strength. He needs ruthlessness to maintain his throne amidst the mist. While gorillas rule the land with brute force, high above, the leopard remains a silent, deadly predator. With its compact body and extraordinary climbing abilities, it transforms the dense foliage into a perfect invisibility cloak. Its target is the colobus monkey troop, moving among the trees in the dense forest. But in Congo, the leopard isn't the only one craving this prey. Sometimes, the lone killer must retreat before a force far more numerous and brutal. Before the leopard's growl could even be uttered, another wave of killing intent enveloped the forest. It wasn't a single individual, but an army, a troop of chimpanzees. Unlike the leopard's quietness, the chimpanzees organized their hunt like a true military campaign. They didn't attack randomly. Each individual had a specific role. Chasers, blockers, and ambushers lurk in the high-altitude escape routes. Their intelligence becomes terrifying at this moment. When panicked, colobus monkeys leap through the gaps between the trees. They fall straight into the trap set. A massacre erupts in the high canopy. The chimpanzees' screams drown out the sound of the forest wind as they use their collective strength to tear apart their prey before it even touches the ground. This is the dark side of evolution. where superior intelligence is used to serve the most brutal predatory instincts. The Congo River is not merely a natural geographical boundary. It is the incision that divides the soul of evolution. On the southern bank, hidden in the shelter of Salunga, lies the kingdom of the bonobo. Although they share 98.7% of their genetic code with humans, they have chosen a completely different path. In the heart of the Congo Basin, rife with brutality, the bonobo built a matriarchal society that was remarkably peaceful. Here, conflicts are not resolved with fists, but with empathy, love, and strong social bonds. They are living proof that violence is not the only option for survival. However, looking across to the north bank, the territory of the chimpanzees we just witnessed, a completely opposite scenario is unfolding. They operate their society through complex political alliances, crafting tools for hunting and readily waging brutal territorial wars to expand their power. Two parallel evolutionary paths, one of gentle empathy, the other of bloody power. All are reflected in the murky waters of the Congo River, which holds the secret of who we truly are in the mirror of the wild. And never let your guard down from the river. Below lies the Goliath tigerfish, a monster with razor-sharp fangs. It is the only creature that dares to attack crocodiles and tear its prey apart in seconds. If leopards are ghosts on land, then the Goliath tigerfish is the scythe of death underwater. Unlike the commonly seen piranha, which relies on numbers to devour prey, the Goliath is a solitary killer with overwhelming strength. While piranhas are only 30 centimeters long, Goliath can reach 1.5 meters and weigh over 50 kilograms, a colossal mass of muscle underwater. With 32 closely spaced fangs like steel traps, it doesn't wait for its prey to weaken, but actively hunts targets many times larger than itself. In Congo, if piranhas are merely troublemakers, Goliath is a true nightmare that any creature would fear. Leaving the turbulent waters where the Goliath tigerfish reigns, we enter the eerily silent swamp forests. Here, time seems to have stopped since prehistoric times. Amidst the dense papyrus bushes, a tall figure emerges, standing motionless like a statue carved from gray stone. It is the shoebill. Don't let its somewhat sluggish appearance deceive you. With its enormous boot-shaped beak, sturdy and sharp at the tip, it is a remarkably patient killer. It can stand still for hours, waiting for a lungfish or a young crocodile to let its guard down. When the opportunity arises, the shoebill swoops down like a guillotine, using its entire body weight and beak to clamp down and finish off its prey in a single moment. In Congo, the shoebill's stillness is a death sentence. Despite its imposing appearance and wingspan exceeding 2 meters, the shoebill is an eccentric, solitary creature. They do not live in flocks, but choose a solitary lifestyle, occupying separate swamp areas like ghostly guardians of their territory. With its piercing golden eyes and unblinking, motionless gaze, it looks more like a creature from the Cretaceous period than a modern bird. In the world of slipperbirds, cruelty begins at birth. Females usually lay 2 eggs, but the rules of survival in Congo leave no room for weakness. Often, only the stronger chick is raised. It will attack and push its weaker sibling out of the nest to monopolize the mother's food supply. It's a brutal, primal instinct. To become apex predators, they must learn to be ruthless even to their own blood. But in the dense shadows of the vegetation, there's another terror, the African rock python. This is the largest python on the continent, a mobile mass of muscle that can reach up to 6 meters in length. It doesn't need venomous fangs. Its weapons are unwavering patience and suffocating constriction. In the murky water, a small, isolated mound of earth rose like a forgotten island. On it, a lone antelope was struggling in despair. It was unclear why it was trapped here as the water level rose, alone amidst peril on all sides. Each step it took on the damp ground produced a trembling sound. Its eyes constantly scanned the water's surface, searching for a way back to shore, but instinct told it that the surrounding water was not empty. Its instinct was right. Beneath the dark water, a huge shadow lay motionless. The African rock python had been waiting for a long time. It could lie there for hours, only its nostrils and eyes, cold as shattered glass, visible as it observed. But death didn't come from just one side. A giant crocodile had also set its sights on its prey. It lumbered across the mud, cornering the antelope. With the crocodile at its throat and the deep abyss behind it, the antelope was forced to choose to jump into the water, clinging to the faint hope that speed would save it. But that was the fateful moment. The surface of the river suddenly split open. The rock python leaped out of the darkness with terrifying speed. A precise bite dragged the antelope down into the deep water. The desperate prey unleashed frantic kicks and thrashed violently, but all was in vain against nature's hydraulic press. The python's enormous muscular coils tightened around it, giving it no chance to resist. The tremendous pressure from these coils not only broke bones, but also prevented blood flow to the heart and brain, bringing death upon it in utter helplessness. In the eerie silence of the jungle, only the gentle lapping of water and the dry, crisp cracking of bones could be heard. The antelope slowly succumbed, its eyes dull and lifeless. The African rock python had won, not with its speed, but with the ruthlessness of its physical strength and a chillingly patient trap. It loosened its grip, preparing to devour its prey, a horrifying testament to the dominance of this jungle monster. In this territory, from the air to the ground, Congo always reminds us that the best predator isn't the fastest, but the one that waits the longest. Congo is being torn apart by climate change and the greedy hands of humans. Elephant populations are dwindling, and bonobos are few and far between. When the forest falls silent, the planet loses its most vital heartbeat. Congo doesn't need our word-of-mouth rescue. It needs us to leave it alone. Because if King Kong falls, Earth's evolutionary memory will forever vanish into darkness. Leave your comments below to discuss. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next adventures exploring deadly territories. Thank you for watching, and now, goodbye, and see you again in the next Wild Secrets.
The red dust of the savannah explodes as the baboons storm in. The savannah is in chaos. Will this primate's wildest raid be enough to scare away the mightiest predators? Baboons challenge the hunter. A brutal savannah raid that shakes the savannah. Dawn slides across the dry yellow soil of the savannah like a ribbon of light trying to rekindle the warmth of the barren land. The wind blows through the grasslands in soft waves, but beneath the placid surface lies a world where every creature lives between life and death. This is a place where lions rule the shadows, leopards rule the undergrowth, wild dogs rule the slopes, and spotted hyenas run amok like laughing hyenas amidst the carnage. But among these master hunters, there is one species that seems fearless. From afar, a long red dust cloud rises, signaling the arrival of the Koba troop, one of the largest baboon groups in the eastern Serengeti. Nearly 120 individuals move together in a unified mass, stretching from high mounds to barren lowlands. Their social order is as clear as an organized army. The alpha male leads the way. The adult males follow closely behind to form a shield. The females keep the young in the middle. The alpha males, the tech that, and the experienced individuals at the tail act as lookouts. No omnivore in the savannah possesses such a complex social apparatus. No primate in Africa maintains a movement of hundreds of individuals every day. And no species has the ability to synchronize behavior, react quickly as a unified body when danger strikes. The sounds coming from the troop also reflect that complexity accurately. Baboons use more than 80 different calls to communicate information, from warning of danger, calling each other to gather, urging movement, to maintaining distance between individuals during dense movement. This special language system helps the group react in just a few seconds, something that many predators must be wary of. Under the rising sun, baboons appear to be just a crowded, chaotic, and noisy herd of primates. But upon closer observation, their every movement shows intelligence, organization, and discipline. It is these factors that create a kind of strength that does not come from muscles, but from intelligence and solidarity. Something that even leopards must be wary of, hyenas must calculate, and sometimes lions are forced to retreat. In a land where the weak must avoid the strong to survive, baboons choose the opposite way, go straight towards danger, and sometimes challenge it. In the hot afternoon of the dry season, the ground in the territory of the Koba pack trembled slightly under the pressure of the fiery wind. On a fallen acacia tree, a female leopard was trying to drag a small antelope carcass up a branch, seeking some safety in a land where it did not belong. But before its spotted fur could disappear into the foliage, the atmosphere suddenly changed. A series of sounds rang out, hoarse and deep, like the beat of a stone drum reverberating through the steppe. The Koba baboons emerged from the low acacia bushes, not as individuals, but as a whole gray mass moving like a flood. They spread out in an arc, gradually forcing the leopard into a dead corner of the red bush forest. The leader, male, Roga, stepped forward first, baring his long, knife-like teeth in defiance. Beside him, the adult males walked and pounded their hands on the ground, creating vibrations that left a thin layer of dust, as if to announce that this territory would not accept any intruders. The leopard growled low, its eyes narrowing. But there was not the aggression of a predator, but the warning of a creature that had just realized it was in the wrong place. There was no path high enough to climb, no thick shade to retreat to, and no time to choose. The monkeys were closing in, layer by layer, tightening like the claws of an invisible giant. In that moment, red dust swirled in a hazy mass around the Koba group's feet. Some monkeys threw rocks, others rushed closer, only a few steps away from the leopard, forcing it back against the tree trunk. The cries of the group combined into a chaotic music, straining every muscle of the leopard to its limit. The confrontation between a single individual and an entire army was taking place right in the baboons' territory. And here, the rules always favored those who could fight with both intelligence and numbers. The dust storm swirled again. The encirclement was complete. The consequence of this encirclement was not just the risk of injury, but the crueler truth. The leopard understood that it had lost possession of its prey the moment it entered Koba's territory. In this world, food is not for the fastest or strongest, but for the one with the most social group ready to fight. And baboons are just that. The tighter the circle, the more the biological truth becomes clear. Baboons are not only strong in numbers, but also in coordination that far surpasses most predators in the savannah. They use deep, long calls to adjust their formation, short, sharp sounds to urge the individuals in front to advance, and a hoarse roar as an absolute warning to the entire herd. In just a few seconds, hundreds of individuals have moved from normal movement to a fighting formation so tight that even the leopard senses the danger growing much larger than itself. But in the midst of the chaos, a small change occurs that will open the next climax of the story. As the monkeys in front press the leopard against the acacia tree, a young male on the eastern edge suddenly straightens up, his head turned toward the wind. They had picked up the scent of lions from the shallows not far away. And for the Koba, that meant a bigger threat was coming. In the moment the baboons shifted their focus, the heat of the savannah seemed to subside, preparing for a new, more violent, and dangerous movement. The siege had changed focus, and everything was about to spiral into a larger conflict. As the Koba moved away from the scent of lions, their coordinated movements revealed the true power hidden beneath the gray dust, a brain superior to that of any omnivore. No other species on the savannah had the ability to process information as quickly and accurately as the baboons. That intelligence not only helped them survive, but also turned the entire group into a tactical machine that could adjust to the slightest change in the environment. On the dry, cracked ground, Koba's formation spread out automatically. The experienced elders stood on the flanks, where they could see further and warn earlier. The young males moved forward, forming the first line of defense if danger came. The females clustered around the cubs in the middle, keeping the weakest safe. There was no commanding cry, no commanding gesture, but the pride operated in unison, as if sharing a single brain. In the western lowlands, a lioness lay resting under the shade of an old acacia tree. With just a few small signals, the space changed rhythm immediately. The young males of the Koba pride seized the opportunity to test the ruler of the savannah. They jumped on mounds of earth, threw rocks, and hurled dry branches at the lion. Red dust rose as they passed in front of the big cat, leaving behind faint trails like the slashes of a blade through the wind. The lions leaped up, furiously pursuing, but the Koba pride's movement split into 3 different directions, as fluid as water flowing around a rock. Each time the lions pounced on one group, it would immediately turn to either side, while the other 2 groups closed in from behind, leaving it in the open and forcing it to change direction of attack. This was no mere teasing, but a test of the tactics the pride had honed over thousands of days of living together. In the golden afternoon light falling on the dust, the Koba herd appeared as proof that the power of the savannah does not come from claws alone, but from intelligence. And it is that intelligence that will push them into a much more brutal confrontation. The late afternoon sunlight tilted down, covering the savannah in a soft yellow layer like dry ash. From the acacia depression ahead, a young sound rang out, weak, fragile, and dangerous enough to change the order of this land, the shrill cry of a lion cub. The moment that sound reached the Koba herd's ears, the movement of the entire herd changed immediately. The young males who were teasing the lionesses turned towards the acacia bush, their eyes sharpening with the instinct to hunt for opportunities passed down through many generations. Without a clear signal, dozens of gray individuals poured down the slope like a waterfall of red dust rolling down the cracked ground. A lion cub was staggering out of the shadows, not old enough to understand danger, not strong enough to defend itself. And it was standing right in the middle of where the baboons had absolute superiority in speed and numbers. In an instant, 3 strong males rushed forward to block its escape. One jumped from behind, hooked its long arm around the cub's back, and pulled so hard that it lost its balance and fell to the hot ground. The second cry rang out louder, more desperate. The mother lion sprang to her feet, roaring as she charged. But the Koba had already formed a dense encirclement, dozens of gray arms moving like living logs, blocking all approaches. The cub was dragged between those arms, its feet kicking wildly in the swirling dust. The mother lion charged, but the baboons did not confront it head-on. They turned to either side in time, letting the blow fall in the air, then immediately closing in faster, thicker, more fiercely. The screams seemed to tear the sunset sky apart. In that moment, savannah revealed a truth few had ever witnessed. The baboons dared to attack the lion cubs and even forced the mother lion to retreat. The mother lion's fury sent thick clouds of red dust billowing up, but her ferocity was not enough to penetrate the gray wall that held her cub. The powerful pounces made the Koba pack even more alert. Each time she lunged, the circle closed tighter, flexible as a single body. It was in the moment the mother lion paused to find an opening that the baboons closed in. The final squeeze that was decisive in all their attacks. But then, from the north of the hollow, another sound broke in, the deep, resonant laughter of spotted hyenas. They were drawn in by the smell of chaos and easy opportunity. Spotted shadows began to appear on the edge of the light, causing the whole savannah to lose its breath. A new confrontation, larger and more brutal, was approaching. Dusk was fading, leaving the savannah in a dark purple, like ink smeared across the sky. The Koba pack stopped on the high ground, where the night wind carried the dry scent of red dust and something more sinister. A land that did not belong to anyone. The young males stood at the edge of the formation, ears pricked, eyes drawn to the dark horizon. There, in the darkness that was swallowing the steppe, there were signs of another force. Slow, but sure. No screams, no overt threats. Just a silence, as tense as a drum, waiting to be beaten. Roga, Koba's alpha male, stood silently beside a rotting acacia tree. His eyes were no longer the aggression of a victor, but the cold calculation of a leader who knew that there was more than food or shelter ahead. The dusk faded, leaving the savannah a dark purple, like an inky smear across the sky. The Koba pack stopped on the high ground, where the night wind carried the dry scent of red dust and something more sinister. Unclaimed land. The young males stood at the edge of the formation, ears pricked, eyes drawn to the dark horizon. No screams, no overt threats. Just a silence, as tense as a drum, waiting to be struck. Roga, the alpha male of Koba, stood silently by the rotting acacia tree. His gaze was no longer the aggression of a victor, but the cold calculation of a leader who knew that ahead lay not just food or shelter, but power. The wind changed direction. The strange scent became clearer. A silent warning rippled through each individual, like a thin electric current running through the pack. The Koba pack slowly closed its formation, preparing for what savannah always demanded of all who lived on it. Those who wanted to survive knew how to take what they needed or be swept away by others. Night fell on savannah. The pack fell silent, as if simultaneously sensing an invisible presence shifting in the darkness. Roga stood still, his yellow eyes staring into the thick darkness beyond. There was no sound, but the air was compressed, so tense that even a breath of wind was enough to make savannah sway. Something awaited the Koba pack ahead. A challenge that does not come from the claws, but from the land they are about to set foot on. In that dense darkness, savannah's breathing changes slightly. And Koba knows that the next battle will be unlike anything they have ever faced. What awaits the monkeys in the new land? Predict in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode of the intense battles in the harsh, wild nature.